Hey, ever wondered where the 4-seat version of the General 1000 went? Well, guess what? It's back. Stay tuned for more. All right, so when we talk about the General 1000, a little bit of origin story is in order to kind of, frame up how we got to this machine. Before the General existed 10 or more years ago, we had the Ranger utility vehicles on one side, we had the Razor rec vehicles on the other, but we didn't have anything that was right between in this, kind of crossover space. Well, we took the best of both worlds and merged them together, right? So we took the underpinnings of a Razor, the 100 horsepower twin cylinder naturally aspirated engine, right? The suspension with over a foot of travel, the nice piggyback shocks. We got QS3s on this 4-seater. We got the on-demand all-wheel drive. This thing, hell, even it has turf mode on this General 1000 4-seater. But then we merged in some of the Ranger goodness with a dumping utility box on the back, capable of 600 pounds on this machine. But a lot of the interior learnings that we had from Razor where people said, hey, I want to be able to fit, full-size adults front and back. We stretched the wheelbase a little bit by a couple inches to actually allow you to fit in this General. And that even allowed us to extend the seat pads a bit to make them more comfortable. And we'll show you that in just a bit. But as we look at the front end of this, you can see this style has been around for a few years, but it's still beautiful. Color through and through on this particular model with the gray and the red. As we look in the front end, we've got these nice LED headlights. Those come standard on this particular model, so really nice feature if you're riding at night or you just want people to see you. We've got Fox QS3 piggyback shocks, and we'll show you those in the back. But one of my favorite features is right here on the corners. So you've got a nice 14-inch aluminum rim, good style on that, wrapped in this beautiful 27-inch Dirt Commander tire. Now the beauty of this tire is that it's an 8-ply rated tire, so it's a really strong, durable tire. It's got a really nice tread to void ratio, and the performance is really good both in hard pack trails and when it gets a little muddy. The nice part about that 8-ply rating is it's got great puncture resistance, so it's a really durable tire as well. It wears very evenly and it gives you very neutral performance across a variety of terrains. Overall, where I live in the upper Midwest, this is probably my favorite tire for riding on a trail around here. And this size combination with this power plant is just perfect when it comes to mashing that skinny pedal and having a little bit of fun. Now, as we come further back on this machine, you'll notice we've got full door coverage. So nice to keep any wheel spray off, but the body is also wider on this than a Razor. So if you look at the side profile, that tire doesn't really stick out on the body line. So most of the spray off the tire is contained inside the wheel well, not trying to fly up to you in the cockpit. So a little wider body on the General than the Razor. Now the nice thing, I've got this passenger seat slid all the way back. And you can see I've got a nice spot for my handhold here, another one on the door, and I've got plenty of room for my knees in front of the dashboard. And I'm, 6'1", so plenty big guy, I guess. But a really nice cockpit layout on this thing. So I've got plenty of room on the front. And the other thing, when you look at these seats, is we actually extended the seat on these compared to the old Razor seat by a couple inches. So this thing comes further forward on my thigh and gives me better leg support throughout the day. So if you're out for a full day of trail riding, these General seats are really, really nice. You'll feel well supported on your legs, well supported on your back. And one of the other cool features is these seat belts right here that a lot of people don't realize. So what you see is that there's a little rubber adjuster here, and I'm about the right height where they usually fit me pretty good when I put them on. But if I slide this belt around, you'll see it hits me right over my shoulder, almost in a perfect spot. But if I need to move it up a little, like if this angle isn't quite right, or if you're a shorter or taller person, you can actually take this plastic adjuster and wobble it back and forth, and you can adjust where that pivot point is. So this is called the T-rail. And it makes it so that whether you're tall or short, you can actually adjust that seat belt so it hits you in the right spot across your shoulder. It's not digging into your neck or falling off your shoulder. So a really nice safety feature here on the seat belt that the front seats get on this General 1000. Now, as we move toward the back, this is where kind of the cool part is when you're thinking about riding with your family and friends all day. I can jump in the back, and even sitting all the way back, I've got room in front of my knees that you might be able to see on the camera here. And even if your legs were a little bit taller, you can still splay them out, and oftentimes the passenger is actually a little further forward. We've purposely got this seat all the way back to show you kind of the worst case scenario, and I still have plenty of room in this back seat. So even as a full-size adult, when you think about all-day comfort for 4, this machine is really fantastic for giving you enough space. I got a center console front and rear, so I can drop a few things in there if I want some spare beverages for the day, or extra pair of gloves or whatever. But overall, great machine in that regard. Now, as we keep coming back to the back, We've got a fantastic dump bed in this General. Now this thing's a few feet wide, a couple feet deep, almost a foot tall. And when you pivot the tailgate down, you get the dumping capability that you're used to seeing on many utility models. So you can fill this up with up to 600 pounds, dump it out, do some work. I told you earlier, we'd point out these awesome QS3 shocks. So you got a nice Fox piggyback here, couple inch body with the remote reservoir. Or with the piggyback reservoir on here. And from the factory, this will ship in the number 2 setting. Now the nice part is if you're driving around by yourself, not carrying any weight, you can flip all 4 corners to number 1, get a little more plush ride out of this thing. But if you're loaded up with 4 people, a bunch of gear in the back and some accessories, all you gotta do is flip it to 3 and you're ready to go. You firm up the suspension in all 4 corners, makes it super simple. The other things to point out in the back here, you can't see it on this side of the vehicle, but on the other side is the solenoid for the turf feature and the transmission. But we actually have the ability to unlock the rear end. So the nice part about that is when you flip it down into turf, when you're in really tight maneuvering areas, which is especially true on a 4-seater, it makes it feel like you've got a shorter wheelbase because that outside wheel can spin faster than the inside and the back to allow you to make it around tighter bends. The other cool thing when you're in the grass, it doesn't tear it up so much when you're making tight corners. And when you're getting in and out of your trailer, you don't hear that chirp from the wheels skipping a bit. Now, if we close the box, get the tailgate up and out of the way. The other cool thing is back in the back, we've got a built-in 2-inch receiver. So if you need to tow a trailer, you know, light yard cart, something like that, you've got the ability to slide in a standard size hitch that you probably have in your truck and do some work with the back end of this thing. So as you think about it, you've got things like the 2-inch receiver, the 600-pound box capacity, the ability to put on a winch, a lot of utilitarian features that we get from our Ranger lineup. Couple that with the sport performance of the 100-horsepower motor, over a foot of travel, the nice piggyback QS3 shocks, extended wheelbase that you get from the Razor. The beauty and styling that you've come to love out of this General 1000. Overall, this is a phenomenally capable vehicle when you want to bring friends and family around for a ride all day. You can get some work done, at night. And overall, it's just a great platform of vehicle if you need a combination of both worlds. Hey, that's it for this episode of Shop Talk. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want to see next time.